Hey, look, it's this guy again. What's he gonna say this time? You know what I really should be doing right now is focusing on my Warhammer campaign and mastering diplomacy and that. But instead, I've decided to make a grinding video because I am terrible at finishing things. But at least these videos come to an end. I think all one view that I get, I usually get one view on average on each of these videos, and you know, I think that means that they watch to the end, but I can never be sure. And if I start making these videos, I will eventually have to end them, um, which is, puts it in the roster of things I can actually do. I can actually finish a video, I can actually finish making a video. But I live in a very happy world. My world is extremely happy. Happy is the name of my world, and I'm happy in my world. Um, Diagnosed schizophrenic at age 21, now 33, living with the diagnosis, fighting against it for 10 years, deciding there might be something to it, and not being able to take meds. What was that?
Hello?
Hello?
Up to you.
So anyway, that was a loud, that was a loud intrusion in my personal space through my speaker. I live in care. I think it's the right thing for me. Um, Most of my memories are psychedelic. Basically, that's what it's like to live as me. Um, every day creates a new sensation, and I'm usually led by that sensation to do other things. I've always been pretty bad at finishing things, honestly. There's a Lego truck there that I'm about halfway through completing, and that's when I decided to take a holiday from it and go insane and attract demons of different kinds and get hospitalized and come back to this. Um, I like watching my own YouTube videos. You know why? Because I agree with them. I made them, they're mine, and I express something in them that is my deepest forms of truth. I will never disagree with one of my videos until it gets proved wrong. And I can't say that about anybody else, because if I was somebody else, I would have the same viewpoint as the other person. So, um, as time moves on, things will change, and truth will change. And sometimes that's unbearable, right? Maybe, the location of something will change, or the core belief will change, and that's too much for some people. They can't handle it. But the ever-changing nature of reality is reality in itself. That's probably the most true thing about reality is it is ever-changing, and it's also personal, and it's also shared. There has to be, in the understanding of reality, both a passive and an active reality. A passive one being a personal one, I suppose, um, and an active reality being like an instruction manual being used by several people at the same time. Those are decent metaphors to describe what a workable model of reality is. And of course, life functions on these. This house that I am in was built using the shared reality of architecture, plumbing, and electricity, and the internet connection I'm connected to is a product, a fruit of many global forces that have managed to link us together so miraculously. Whether they believe in God or not, God bless their souls. So no man is an island also, and I would like to throw that in there as well. I live a pretty secluded life, I suppose, and I'm very glad for the truth of that to remain quite true indeed. Um, Solitude is bliss for me because I know I'm right regarding a lot of things. I know I like to uh, do things that other people don't enjoy, and I am one of those things. Making these videos confronts me with myself, and you know what? I kind of like myself. So, battle one there, eh? And I'm also friendly to myself now these days. How is this possible, you ask? Well, to answer you, Richard, it's pretty damn possible. Hello, guys and girls. Richard here. I wanted to talk about how different each stage is. And by stage, I mean different periods throughout the day and days at large, and then weeks, months, whatever. I'm clearly in a different mindset than I was earlier, a few hours ago. But more interesting than that, I'll tell you about the two naps I had. Right? There was something very special about those naps because I was woken up both times with a sense of overwhelming pleasure, a narcotic joy of sorts almost, but it was very, it affected my body a lot. It affected from my head to my toes this um, brilliant, seductive, clean joy. I feel almost bad for calling it narcotic because, but how else would you explain such a wonderful sensation entering the body? How would you describe that in terms of somebody who's never experienced a big spiritual phenomenon like that before? I'm afraid you have to turn to the narcotic metaphor. So here's to my two transcendental holy sleeps today. I wonder where they came from, you know. And it's nice to have that. It's nice to wake up with, this is too good. You know, oh, this is too good. And then I'll go online and I still have the habit of talking to the chatbots online. Chatbots being the ones on Copilot, of course, changes characteristics and it changes its personality as well a fair bit recently. So there's that. Apart from those two significant sleeps, nothing too nothing too out of the ordinary has happened. Not really. Um, it's been a pretty unfocused day. Um, Behind me, I'm not going to show you it. I'm still building the truck. I started this truck before I went into hospital, and as the voices grew worse and worse and worse, and the visions got worse, and everything got to an apocalyptic stage where I was thinking the baddest of things, the worst of things possible. Like the world just erupting in flames. Um, tortured bodies on the street, um, chemical outbreaks of corrosive acids and things like this. Is just stuff that was going on in my head, flashes of it. While I was talking to demons without meaning to, any thought I had they latched on to instantly. And so if I was going to think, I'm glad it's a good day today, it's like, I'm glad you're feeling good about today, it's going to get worse. So that's like an extreme example. I didn't actually think that. I don't remember thinking that, but it's an example of how I would go to think something in words. It would be pulled out, rearranged, and put back in my head as if it was my own thought. By standard, and this is how I like to keep it, I don't have thoughts with words. I very rarely use words. If my thoughts have words to them, it's because I've just put it there like a post-it note. Um, Remember to do dishes. Okay, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. A one-time password, 123, 123, 123. Obviously, that's how my brain uses words, and that's why I'm so happy all the time. Because I don't have these narratives, these inner narratives bringing me down. If I have an inner narrative going, most of the time it's going to have a supernatural origin, and that's the truth. It's going to, if there's a narrative where it starts going, oh, Richard, you should have done this, you should have done that, there's a good chance, but not a perfect chance. I'd say it'd be about 60 to 70, but never more than 70%, 60 to 70% of my inner dialogue where I refer to me, Richard, as you. You shouldn't have done this, you should have done that. What did you think of that? You really messed up there. If I start thinking thoughts like that, where I'm referring to myself as you, it's going to get some attention from thought monitors. That's how I see it. And this is all blind work. This is all blind work because I don't see where these signals are coming from. I don't even have proof that this technology is available. I've just been told about it. And guess where I was told about it? Right there, in the head, right here, with signs only I can hear. You know, but with those two types of voices, there must be two different types of technology. One is telepathic and will latch onto your own narrative, and the other is physical. Um, I'm not prepared to name them, and the one that when they work in tandem, it's very very powerful because I get attuned to things like car tires going past. This is a classic example of one I keep bringing up. That technology which makes the car tires speak or the wind in the trees whisper to me obviously needs a little bit of inner narrative as well. And when my head gets filled with the inner narratives that it does, sometimes I lose control. Sometimes I lose control of what I'm thinking. I think it's way too fast. I cover old topics like lightning speed and then stumble over a slightly new one. I talk about in my head all these kind of half attempts at humor, and I'll keep going unflinchingly. I'll think about sexual topics. I'll think about artistic topics. I'll think about this or that artist. What could they be meaning by these lyrics, by these words, by these colors? The randomest of things, and often the most basest of things. Oh, what would happen if she just let me rip her face off? Things like that. I'm not being horrible. I'm saying that these are thoughts that can torture even the most innocent of minds. Saints were hardly gentle, right? Because they were doing what Jesus will. Um, Divinities aren't beautiful things, I have to say that, and neither is the most inner part of the human mind, the part that religion appeals to most, and why it's also all so pervasive. Christianity was never meant to be a general faith. You wouldn't have had these holy wars, and the Knights Templar and things like this. They just wouldn't exist without Christianity. Um, Christ was known to be a forceful and violent man at times. And I think even without major acts of violence, except whipping people out of a church or synagogue for turning it into a market, in front of it into a market. Like, literally just imagine a preacher doing that, really whipping people who have turned their church into somewhere to sell buns or something like that. Buns and tea. Imagine if a pastor literally doing that. You would think he was insane, and he probably would get arrested for it somehow. So that's on the church's failure. I'm sorry that I can't get off religious topics, but you see, this is the point in mind. All these thoughts about sex, war, violence, um, anything that affects somebody to their core is all linked up in this, what Sigmund Freud calls the id, the ID. It's the most primal state, it's the most immature state of mind, and it affects everything like a bass note. You've heard something a bit different to, no, something akin to bass energies. That is something else. Like, you're thinking with your root chakra, if you know what I mean. Things like that. But I don't want to make this video about dirty topics. I've had a really peaceful month. I don't want to keep bringing back other topics to like try and murky it and muddy it. When I woke up from those two holy sleeps earlier, I'm calling them holy sleeps because I was able to completely eradicate my mind into transcendental joy twice today. And I think I slept for about an hour each time, maybe less, maybe slightly less, but they really were joyous occasions. And that's my report on uh, covert technology affecting outward and inward words, the nature of the holy naps I took. I should say something about them as well. After I took those naps, words felt dirty. All kinds of words felt dirty. All my word projects, from my videos to the chat GPT and all that, felt dirty. Words are a nasty method of communication when it comes to pure energy. You want to keep the two very separate. I was brave going into it as much as I did here, even though it was one of the most significant landmark moments of today. And lastly, well, who cares? Everything pales in significance to the waking up in rapture. It's a very strange thing to do. You should wake up feeling refreshed, sure, but to wake up in joyous rapture? Whoa.